The visualization stuff got really big for me, but it was never like visualizing what I was doing or how I was surfing. It was more visualizing how I was feeling. I would visualize how I felt walking down to the water, how I felt right before the horn went off. And after practicing it over and over again in my head, it just allowed me space and allowed me to surf how I want to surf.
John Florence is one of the most talented surfers of all time. After 15 years on the World Surf League Championship Tour, 3 world titles, and 2 Olympic appearances, John recently surprised the surf world when he stepped away from competition. Instead, he decided to pursue a massive wild idea: to sail around the world with his family. I'm Shelby Stanger, and this is Wild Ideas Worth Living, an REI Co-op Studios production presented by Capital One and the REI Co-op MasterCard. I was lucky enough to talk with John last summer at Outside Days in Denver, Colorado. This time when we spoke, John was at home in Hawaii. He grew up nearby on the North Shore of Oahu and rode his first wave at just 3 years old. In 2011, when he was 19, John officially joined the WSL Tour. At first, he wasn't solely focused on competition, but in 2015, he decided to lock in and go after a world championship. John Florence, welcome to Wild Ideas Worth Living. It's really good to talk to you again. It was so fun to chat with you at the Outside Fest, and now we're back. I love it.
Yeah, excited to be back. Thanks for having me.
So I talked to one of your close friends who said, Shelby, if you asked John in 2015 what his goal was, it was to win the world title. And he got rid of everything else and laser focused to do this. Is that right?
Yeah. I think 2015 was definitely the year of I'm on the tour. I would love to win a world title. That's kind of since I was a little kid, seems like it's been a goal of mine. I'm going to put everything into winning now. It was okay, I'm going to be the first one out every morning in the dark. I'm going to be practicing every single day. I'm going to do my mental work. I'm going to start stretching. I'm going to I made all these huge changes, and I just committed to that for the year. And it was crazy. I ended up winning, and it was just a funny thing to take a step and go, whoa, when I commit myself in a direction, I can really do something.
That's inspiring. And not only did you commit yourself, but you had to invest in yourself. You had to take your earnings and hire a coach, hire trainers, maybe a nutritionist. That's a big commitment. And then it worked. I mean, you won.
It was actually pretty interesting. So 2016 was a really good year. Definitely a couple of weeks of borderline depression after wait, I just accomplished this life goal. Now what? And then the next year I just felt relaxed, and I had all this practice of what I had done the year before. And I just kind of went and I surfed, and I didn't think about it too much. And then I won at home, and that was really cool. And then 2018 came along, and I was before the year started, I was I'm not doing the tour. I got to take a couple of years off. I don't know where my mind's at. I don't really want to be here. And everyone around me is what are you talking about? You got to go win again. Of course you got to go back on tour and win again. And I'm but I really don't want to. And I end up going back on tour because just listening to what everyone's saying, pretty much. So that was the start of the knee injuries. I felt as though it was my body going we don't want to be here. What are we doing? You're done. So I got this kind of much needed rest from the tour in a way. 2019 comes along. I feel a lot better. I'm okay, I've healed. My knee feels really good. It was one of my best starts to the year. And then I was in Brazil, and I kind of started, it's just crazy, how the body works and the mind and everything. But I was starting to feel that again all of a sudden, halfway through the year of just the weight of this, it's really pulling on me. I don't know if I really want to be here again all of a sudden. And then boom, that was when my knee really went, destroyed my ACL.
After John's injury in 2019, he had to undergo complete knee reconstruction. Unfortunately, that was just the beginning of a 5-year stretch of serious setbacks, during which he had ACL and MCL surgeries on both knees. Finally, in 2023, after years of procedures and rehab, something shifted.
So 2023 came along. I put a lot of effort into training, and I was like, I'm done getting hurt. Um, Halfway through the year, again, get to this point of just like, oh my gosh, like here's that feeling again halfway through. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I just keep putting myself back in this position. What am I doing? I'm totally done with this. And then I remember I went home with that in mind, just took some time to think. And it's amazing when you give yourself a little bit of space, like you can think just so much clearer. So I came home and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to quit halfway through the year. If anything, I'm going to finish this year. I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to enjoy it. And I ended up having such a fun time for the second half of the year. Like, I just went relaxed. I stopped thinking about it too much and just stopped putting pressure on myself and just started surfing. And that was what really like inspired me for 2024 to be like, you know what? If I never do the tour again, I'm going to give this like one more full shot. And so when I went into 2024, it was just this like, I'm going in 100% committed. And then most of all, I'm going to have a good time and I'm going to have fun and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to relax. And just like with that mindset, it just made it so fun the whole year. Like, no matter how much I had on that year with the tour, the Olympics, having a baby, at this, all these things happening at the same time, it was just like, nope, I'm prepared for this. I know what's happening. Like, I'm just going to take it one step at a time. So yeah, it kind of just all of that like led me into that like final year of just this like, okay, like I'm committed. I'm having fun. It made it a really, really special win.
I want to ask you about your recovery from all these injuries.
I think anyone who's had the ACL done knows it's just painful and it's hard to get back to where you were and hard to get full mobility and everything. And it just takes a lot of work. And then so after I had done that first one, I had come back to competing and then I did my other knee. And it was within a year of being back in the water and I was just devastated. And I knew instantly what had happened. I was like, I know this feeling too well. Like, oh no, this is, it was like, it was horrific. But I kind of just like, I guess I was had to gotten pretty good at being in that headspace of kind of just pivoting goals from one thing to the next. And so it didn't really matter what I was doing. As I was just always taking one step in the direction of getting better at surfing or getting better at healing.
Coming back from an injury, especially when you're at the top of your game, is really, really hard. What are some things you did?
I read up on things. I watched videos. I asked people questions. Um, I feel like I'm a really big believer in like the little things really add up. And so I did a lot of little things that like in the moment might not feel like a huge change, but over the long term, I think did a big change. It was wake up, um, mobility stuff, red light first thing during coffee, breathing, meditation stuff. I did a lot of meditation stuff, just visualizing and relaxing and getting rid of like the stress and just like allowing your body to be in a place of healing is really important. As soon as I could get to the next step of moving, I'm a person who likes to be active. And so if it was like, hey, you can walk now, I was like, okay, I'm going on a walk. And then as soon as I could ride a bike, I was like, okay, I'm riding a bike just to get out and get my heart going and get blood flowing and just to do that. And then once I could get in the ocean and just paddle or just swim or whatever it was, I was always trying to like keep moving like that. Um, Hyperbaric was a big one for me. I did hyperbaric twice a day. I had one of those soft chambers, and so you have to do it a little bit more. But I did that twice a day, along with the mobility, the strengthening, the red light, and my days were just nonstop.
This is like really good stuff because I think people know you're a high performer, but I don't think people realize like how focused you are. I think a lot of people are like, that guy's just talented, but you work really, really hard at your goals. It's incredibly impressive. So take me a little bit deeper into like I'm specifically interested in your meditation, breath work, and visualization practice because that's the stuff that like all of us could be better at.
It was like a big turning point for me in my competitive career and I guess in life in general. But especially in competing, I it was a turning point for me of being like taking a step back and kind of being okay with things happening, you know, and not being so affected by emotion and ups and downs. And I know that's a big thing for me that affects me when I compete. Um, because I don't know, I feel like I'm pretty emotional, I guess, and I feel like that me personally, I don't do well around a lot of people. And I think that's why I like being focused into one goal, because I can kind of shut everything out and just go and do that in my own little world. So being around events and stuff was tough for me because I don't like being around a lot of people. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and
It
at
just
events, there's a ton of people and a ton of photographers, and they all want
ton
your
of
autograph.
attention
And
and everyone wants to talk and everyone wants to, yeah. And so for me, that's just not my favorite thing in the world. And so I kind of had to figure out how to like, and especially if you're losing, like you think what everyone's thinking about you, and you know that's such an effect. And so once I kind of like went down this road of the mental side of things, it really helped me to just, yeah, like take a step back and not be so affected by every emotion and every thought and everything that was happening. And it allowed me to get to a place for like most of my heats to where I can get down to the water and I can kind of put myself into a place of like, I just need to surf like the best I can.
what advice do you have for people who are injured right now and like have goals, but they're injured?
Let's see. My advice for people with injuries and goals, you have to put in the work on recovering. You have to do it. Like I've met a lot of people that have gone through ACL surgeries since mine, and have come up to me and like, oh, I still have pain and I still have this and I still have that. And I think a lot of it's from, I'm like, oh, did you go to physio and stuff after? And they're like, yeah, I went 1 day a week. And it's like, yeah, you can go 1 day a week, but you got to go home and work every day to get back. I mean, the surgery is an invasive thing. There's a lot going on in there. So I think like the movement side of it coming back, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work, but it's not forever, you know. It's just those, I think those first 6 months are super, super important.
We talk a lot on this show about the training and gear you need to go after a wild idea. With the REI Co-op MasterCard, everyday purchases can support your wild ideas and turn them into limitless possibilities. Trail miles, summit views, and that family camping trip you plan to take this summer. Here's how it works. Card members earn 5% in card rewards on every purchase at REI and 1.5% on everything else. Groceries, gas, your morning coffee, it all adds up. And the best part, you can redeem card rewards as soon as you earn them. That means grabbing those new trail runners you've been eyeing and keeping more cash in your pocket. It's quick and easy to see if you're pre-approved. To learn more about the REI Co-op MasterCard program, go to rei.com/MasterCard-podcast. That's rei.com/MasterCard-podcast. Terms apply. You know that feeling when the trail turns a corner and boom, in front of you is a massive mountain or jaw-dropping canyon vista. Now imagine that view is in Peru, Alaska, or Morocco. REI Co-op is teaming up with the globe-trotting experts at Intrepid Travel to bring you a curated mix of global and domestic trips that are outside the ordinary, with bucket list destinations, small groups, and local leaders who actually know the place you're exploring. The best news is that members save more with exclusive member pricing. Starting March 15th through the end of April, REI Co-op members get an additional $100 off all REI and Intrepid trips over $1,000. And that's on top of existing member travel benefits. The only question is, where will you go? Explore the REI and Intrepid travel collections at rei.com/travel. That's rei.com/travel. Terms apply. Surfer John Florence has been called the People's Champ, and for good reason. After taking his third title in the World Surf League Championship Tour in 2024, John decided to switch gears. He stepped away from competition to pursue a longtime dream, sailing around the world with his family. I'm obsessed with sailing. Like, I think that's like every surfer's dream, to like sail across the ocean, find remote waves, and like surf them. And not only did you do this, like with your brothers, but then you did it with your wife, Lauren, who's must be such a badass, and your adorable 1-year-old, Darwin. And taking a 1-year-old across an ocean is not an easy decision. I don't know, maybe you could just talk a little bit about that decision to walk away from the tour. I mean, I know that's just what you had decided to do and you were going to do it. You were actually listening to your gut, but also to do it with a 1-year-old.
Yeah, so when we had like really decided on that, I was like, okay, I just took it step by step. I was like, you know what? At first, it was like seemed like a really big. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a lot. Like, how are we even gonna do this? Is this the right thing to do? Is this the right thing to do for him? Is this the right thing to do for us? Like, none of it seemed great. And then, but I was like, you know what? We'll go to New Zealand and we'll spend a month getting things together, and then we can always adjust. We can always make a change if we need to. And yeah, I guess it was just like I feel very privileged to be able to have to be able to make those choices, have those choices, you know, and like, but it was cool because like we're like, okay, we spent like a month there. And we're like, this is actually feeling better. This isn't as bad as we thought. Like,
So you have this. Let's talk about the belt. The belt is Vela. Vela? Is that how you say it?
yeah, Vela is the name.
What's Vela mean?
Velas is I named it after I think it means a couple different things in Spanish and Portuguese, but I named it after a star constellation in the southern hemisphere.
So Vela is a catamaran, and you put nets around it so the kid Darwin's not going to fall overboard.
Yeah, the way our catamaran's designed too is there's like a center kind of area in it where there's like kitchen, like little mini living room. It's small. It's really tiny when you're on there. But then the way it's set up is like there's like a little back deck too, but it's all kind of closed in. Like you can't get out of that area. Like you can kind of go back deck, kitchen area. And so when we netted off the ends of that, it's like pretty secure. When you go up on deck, like onto the forward area and the sides, then we have lifelines and we netted those as well. But then the front is open. Um, so whenever we're up on deck, we had to be like 100% like on him. And then when we're like down low, it's like really, really secure. And so we felt a lot better once we kind of like were like doing it, you know, and we're like, okay, this is much more manageable. It was definitely funny. Like when we first got on the boat, he wasn't walking yet. And then within like the month, he was running around and we were like, whoa, okay, this is like, he's really quick now. And yeah, but it's funny because a boat is baby proofed in a way already, almost like all the corners have our rounded edges, all the cabinets are like push button to open things because it's a boat and everything's moving. Everything's pretty solid. Everything can be wiped and washed down. um it almost was easier than being here at home in a way, except for like some of the things that you don't have sometimes. But like we ended up being like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
Can you tell us about some of the most magical spots you guys went to? I mean, if anybody hasn't seen John's Instagram, go on his Instagram, watch the videos of them sailing with little Darwin and stopping in these amazing Fijian villages and hanging out with village kids. It's adorable.
Yeah, so we started in New Zealand, then we went up to Fiji. We spent a lot more time in Fiji than we thought we were going to do if we went kind of everywhere in Fiji. And I think we spent like 5 months there. And then we went from Fiji to Vanuatu, which is just above New Caledonia. And then we went from there to Australia. And Fiji had some of the most beautiful, like picturesque places that I've ever seen in my life. It was a lot of work in the beginning of the year. We had a lot of weather. So it was definitely like, yeah, my Instagram probably looks like it's like really pretty and sunny and beautiful all the time, but there was a lot of moments where we're like in some little islands out in the far edge of Fiji, and then like a big storm coming through in the next couple of days, and like literally like taking the boat and like tying up to these big rock walls and like, does this feel good? Is the wind going to come around here tonight? Oh, it doesn't feel good. I think the wind's starting from there, and then moving to like another section and like trying to just find little nooks and stuff to hide from weather. And so there was a lot of that. And I kind of like was really patient with the weather and I got a lot better out of it through the trip with the family on board. I tried to pick like when we were doing longer crossings to do it with like a lot mellower weather. And I think a lot of that made the trip much more enjoyable rather than forcing the issue. Um, Rather than like when I had my brothers on the boat, they're like, "We want waves," and I'm like, "Okay, we got to go there," and it's really windy. And do you really want to go there? Yeah, we want to go. I'm like, okay. And then it's like miserable for like 3 days.
Any harrowing moments or stories you can tell where like there's seasickness, huge waves?
Yeah, kind of all of the above. Like we had our crossing from New Zealand was just the most wind and big waves that I've had on the boat, and just like really really terrifying. Like uh I don't know,
And you're
there's
telling me that you're terrified. You've surfed and won the eddy, which is, the big wave event.
yeah,
So how big are
it's
these big waves?
but it's so
And
different
not
because
Hawaiian style. Like tell me in like
I don't
California wave measurement, what would
it's
it
really
have been?
hard because you're in open ocean. And so like our boat is, I don't know, it's 48 feet. And so I don't know, big enough that the boat is dropping into the waves. Like you're literally
So over 48 feet.
no, I wouldn't I was like probably like the swell itself, it was like 20 foot, like these like 20-foot swells.
Terrifying.
um Terrifying, like, but to enough to where you're in the middle of the night and it's dark and you can't see anything, and the boat's on like has like an autopilot for steering. You have very small sails up, like barely any sails up, and it's so windy, and the whole boat is like you're going, and then you just feel the bow kind of drop down, and you're like, oh gosh, here we go, and it's just, and then like into the next one, and
Sounds like a roller coaster that you do not want to be on.
a roller coaster in the dark. And I don't know, I guess the scary thing is that you're so committed. Like you're still 500 miles from land, and you just know it's not getting any better for the next 12 to 15 hours or whatever it is. And you're just like, okay, it just got dark. We have another 10 hours till it gets light. Like this is going to be a long night.
And there's no one who can rescue you. Like you are in the middle of the ocean.
You just, yeah, you're out there in the middle of the ocean, and you're just trying to do your best to like not break things and just keep the boat upright and just keep going in a straight line. And you just don't, I don't know, it's like I'm learning so much still. And I mean there's people that have sailed 200,000 miles around the world 4 times, like done these races where they're going 4 times as fast as we are. And I just can't imagine like the mental state that you have to be in, like, and the guys doing it solo too, like, because it's not only like, I mean there's tons of debris in the ocean, like you don't know what you're going to hit in the middle of the night when you're going 20 knots down a wave. And if you do hit something, it's going to be catastrophic. It's going to be game over. Like, so I don't know. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it, but it's kind of just goes back into those moments of like breathing and going, okay, I'm all good right now in this moment. This is the moment and I'm good right now. So we'll just go into the next moment, into the next moment, into the next one. And for me, it's really scary. For some other people, they might be used to that, but I'm definitely terrified.
I think anybody would be terrified. Was there some of the nature that you saw out there? Can you describe it to me? Whether it was like a waterfall in Fiji or
Yeah. So when we were sailing to Australia from Vanuatu, we were passing through, I forget what one of the reefs, what they were called there. It was in the middle of the night, and I was like sitting there on my night watch, and I hear this like loud pitch noise, and I was like, what is that? It sounds like whistling. And I was like, it's so weird. It's kind of eerie, we're not going super fast. The wind wasn't super strong. And I was like, that is so weird. And then I was like, oh my God, I think it's dolphins or whales. And I go outside on the net and I look, and the water is just glowing, like phosphorescence, just glowing, and like huge dolphins that you can see, like, I don't know, they're really big ones. And because they're moving, all the phosphorescence is like glowing around them. And like you can see their glow. It seems fake, but it's like, and I ran down and I got my brother Ivan up, and I was like, you gotta come see this. And we're just in the middle of the ocean out there, just like tripping out for like, I don't know, the dolphins, they hang around for like 20 minutes, and there's just stars, and it just doesn't seem real. Like you don't see that stuff, and so there was a lot of stuff like that where you're just like in the middle of the night and you're just like, this is surreal. It seems fake.
Anything else you want to share about your sailing adventures? Because I know you did so many cool things, and the people you met along the way, and introduced Darwin too.
Yeah, that was like one of the coolest things, I think. And I think something that I hadn't anticipated making it so special was just going to these places, and a lot of the things that were like you wouldn't think of that are literally right there, like on the beach where you're anchored. If we didn't have Darwin yet, like you wouldn't have thought about, and so there could be a little wave, and like the one place we were anchored had the most amazing, perfect little mini wave, like, and Lauren would longboard it, and then I would sit on we had this big inflatable sup that was like epic for riding waves with him, and just surfing for hours, like, and it was just the coolest thing in the world. Like, so there was a lot of that, and then you go into the villages wherever you are, and the kids just love other kids, and so like we'd literally just go to the beach, and then that'd be like Lauren and I's time off with the baby. It would be like, okay, he would just go run with the kids back and forth on the beach, and they would just all play together for hours, and you'd just be sitting there just like, oh, this is nice, this is relaxing.
Built-in babysitting in these
Yeah.
little villages.
Yeah, it's amazing. And just how friendly the people are, and helpful, and like they just live very simple lives, and they're some of the happiest people that you've seen in the entire world.
Would they know you? Would you get recognized?
Yeah, sometimes.
How interesting.
Yeah, like in the middle of nowhere.
What a trip. That
It
is
was
really
cool.
cool. I mean, that probably must have been fun to be recognized there.
It was really fun. It was just more excitement to go surfing, and I loved that. And it was like, yeah, they just loved surfing for surfing.
What about advice to people who want to go after a wild idea that might not make sense on paper?
I think it's trusting your gut and then taking one step in that direction. I feel like I've read that or heard that a lot, but that first step is always the hardest. But then as soon as I swear, as soon as you take that first step of just going in that direction, like there's always going to be a point for an adjustment or a change. But like, I feel like as soon as you take a step in that direction, then you're like on the path to figuring out if it works or not.
When we spoke, John hadn't decided if he would be going back to the tour officially. Since then, he's announced that rather than returning to competition, he's going to continue sailing around the world with his family, chasing remote waves in far-off destinations. If you want to keep up with him on his adventures, find him on Instagram at John_Florence. That's JOHN_JOHN_FLORENCE. He also has a new YouTube series titled Vela, presented by Yeti, about his sailing adventures. We'll include the link to watch in our show notes. John also has a brand he's created with his brothers called Florence, which is now available at REI and at rei.com. As I mentioned earlier, we spoke to John in person last year at the Music and Outdoors Festival Outside Days in Colorado. We're heading back there this year, and you're invited. Come hear conversations like this one in person and see your favorite brands, athletes, and musical acts live. You'll find more info in the link for tickets in our show notes. Wild Ideas Worth Living is part of the REI Podcast Network. It's hosted by me, Shelby Stanger, produced by Annie Fassler, Sylvia Thomas, and Sam Piers-Nitzberg of Puddle Creative. Our senior producer is Jenny Barber. Our executive producers are Paolo Motola and Joe Crosby. Thanks again to our partner, Capital One, and the REI Co-op MasterCard. As always, we love it when you follow the show, take time to rate it, and write a review wherever you listen. And remember, some of the best adventures happen when you follow your wildest ideas.